And we are back with Krieg. A couple of weeks ago, we did the new Astra Militarum Army set, which is all based on Krieg. And I gave you 4 videos based around just that box set, so you would be able to paint up any Krieg that you want. I then added a video where I painted up basic Krieg infantry in 3 different schemes. So if you guys didn't like the standard scheme, you had different options. And now Games Workshop has very kindly sent me out the new weapons team and the new command squad. And it's time for a whole host of new videos based on those. I will be doing one video on the weapon teams when I get around to that. Still trying to decide which version of the weapon teams I want to construct for that video. If you have any suggestions for that, please let me know in the comments. But as for right now, I'm going to delve into the command squad, which is quite different because it's not just one type of model. There is a commissar thrown in there as well, which has never before come in a command squad box set. So that's quite interesting and I like it quite a lot. So that's what I'm going to start with. That commissar for Krieg is absolutely beautiful, and that's what we're going to paint in today's video. So hopefully you're excited to see that. Before I get into it though, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my active patrons and everyone out there that supports Mediocre Hobbies in the myriad of different ways it is possible to do so. Of course, the Patreon people are the ones that keep the lights on and the cameras rolling, so at the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. If you want to get involved with that yourself, there's links down in the description below. If you join it, you'll get access to a private Discord server where you can talk to me on a daily basis about your hobby, take part in all different events that we have going on over there, and we have an extra video every single week just for you guys. So if that sounds like something that interests you, like I said, check it out. Okay, let's dive in and get this commissar painted up. Now, this is the beautiful new commissar in question. There is 2 different build variants of this particular model. Everything about him stays the same except for his weapons. So he's either pointing and has a whip behind his back and a saber on his hip, or he's got a power fist and a plasma pistol. It does mean I would like to get 2 of these guys, a second one, and build the other variant. The issue I'm having is he comes inside a Krieg command squad, which I don't particularly want to build and paint a second Krieg command squad, at least not the plastic one. So it's kind of one of those things where it's really cool that they added him into the command squad, but also I wish I was able to buy him separately as well. But then obviously in the codex, you can't just take him separately because he's part of it. It's a whole thing. But needless to say, he is a beautiful model. He comes on a really nice scenic base. He's so menacing looking. He definitely suits the Krieg aesthetic down to the ground, and they've done a brilliant job with him. After I've done my normal spray job, which is Chaos Black and then Grey Seer, I used Black Templar to apply black contrast all the areas on this model which require black contrast, which is quite a lot. Then I'm using Blood Angels Red for all the red, which is the entire inside of his jacket. And I did correct the mistake they did when painting theirs, is their sash that they gave him was blue. That is not correct. Commissars have red sashes when Games Workshop bother to sculpt them on. The last 2 plastic commissars that came out from Games Workshop were missing their sashes, and I haven't quite gotten over it. But they did remember to put one on this miniature, even if they did paint it the wrong color. So with the sash red, obviously a little bit around the brim of his hat that's red. This guy seems to be quite a high-ranking commissar. He's probably a Lord Commissar with the kind of ornamentation that he has on his body, the equipment that he's carrying. Even his helmet, or his hat, sorry, is very ostentatious for a lowly cadet or even just a regular commissar. This guy definitely has an air of superiority about him. Long-serving commissar. My guess is he's meant to represent a Lord Commissar. Lead Belcher was then brought in for all his silver details, his power fist, backpack power unit, buckles, parts of the plasma pistol, all those other bits and pieces, which, like, I pulled up an image of the commissar on my screen really big and just kind of copied that and make sure I was getting all the right paints in all the right areas. Retributor armor gold for all of the gold details, which there are quite a lot of. Now, the brocade and stuff like that they have on these guys, in the images, they're more of a tan color to give the idea of it being fabric, but I've seen the kind of these details on military uniforms before, and they do have like gold thread through them. They do look actually golden. So I don't hesitate to actually paint them Retributor armor gold. Then the piping that goes down the jacket, a lot of detail on the hat, and obviously the nice ornamentation across his chest. All that is going to go gold. With all the base coats on, it's time to shade the miniature, and for this, it's a commissar. It's a Krieg Commissar at that. Grim Dark is its middle name, so we are going to go for Null and Oil, the entire model, head to toe. Now, I'm not particularly going into detail with the base. All I did was wildwood everything except for the fallen down sign and the barbed wire. With the fallen down sign, I just put some Blood Angels Red on, contrast. I put some silver on the barbed wire. When that was all dry, I put some texture paste on it, dry brushed it Rise of Rust, dry brushed it Bone, put a transfer on, weather it up, nothing crazy. Everyone's going to base their model differently to match their army, so I don't usually go into a lot of detail on how I do it in videos. But it's time to layer up all the black areas of this model, so Corvus Black was then brought in, and I very carefully went around and highlighted all the different areas on this miniature, which has black. His big storm coat, his under jacket thing, he's got like a big collars and stuff like that just beside his gas mask, piping, the casing of his plasma pistol. There's a bunch of bits and pieces. Make sure to take your time, go around and highlight them all with a little bit of Corvus Black. Corvus Black is a beautiful color for highlighting black because it is black with just a touch of gray in it. So it does really stand out as a nice highlight color. With that section looking nice and neat and tidy, we are going to jump on and try and make all of that red pop. For this, we are going to go for Mephiston red first. We are going to go up another coat after this. And first off, the commissarial red sash is of course going to be the first thing that I highlight. And then obviously his wrist collar, wrist collars, I just call it a wrist collar. Ankle or cuff, jacket cuff, cuffling, his cuff, that's the one. God, I made a mess of that. I got done in red and the rest of the bits and pieces on his jacket. Some very small bits around the hat as well, if you can take your time and get that. Evil Sun Scarlet was then introduced for the second highlight. Once again, I'm going in with a very slight touch. I just want to make those details pop because obviously the model is quite dark with all the black and all the dark silver and the really grim base. That pop of red really does help it stand out in the battlefield. Amongst a command squad, which is very ornate, going to look really cool. I want this guy not to just kind of meld into the background. Liberator Gold is then used to highlight all the gold parts across this model. Usually I use a nice silver for this, but because it's kind of gold broaching and brocading and all that kind of stuff, I decided to go for the Liberator Gold, the traditional way of doing it. And just add that touch highlight, little edge highlight to different areas. You can see me scraping the brush up along the hem of the jacket or the piping of the jacket to add that little bit of a highlight. Model is really coming together now already. Lead Belcher was then brought back in and used to highlight all the metallic parts. So plasma pistol, power fist. I love the utilitarian look to the power fist. It's just big silver metallic with the Imperial Guard eagle stamped across the front of it. Nothing crazy. Just like, not exactly like high-tech Space Marine kind of work. It's a guard issued piece of equipment. Carrick Stone, if you have the normal one's fine. I just have the air one to hand. I'm using that to highlight any of the beige bits. Obviously the skeleton horde that we put on his face and the wrappings around his ankles. We're going to highlight that with a little bit of Carrick Stone. When we highlighted the red as well, we did the eye lenses on his gas mask. So a little bit of a darker red, a dot of a brighter red, and then I actually did end up putting a bit of hard coat on to make the eye lenses just glow a little bit. After that, Corax White was used for the plasma coils on the pistol. And after that, we're going to grab orange plasma. Now, why do I do orange plasma for Krieg? I don't really know. It's just something that I've done. My giant plasma cannon tank has a orange coil, so I decided to follow that through with the rest of the army. Hence this particular commissar getting an orange plasma pistol. You can do blue or green or red, whatever color you want. And this is the final result. Painting a commissar is not a very complicated thing, but they are genuinely one of my top 3 favorite things in all 40k lore is commissars. I think they're absolutely amazing. Any opportunity I get to paint a new one, any new one that Games Workshop ever brings out, I scramble to get my hands on and I get it built and painted as quick as possible. I don't think there's many commissar miniatures out there that I'm missing from my collection, and the majority of them are already painted. So I'm very happy to add this extra one, and obviously I need to get another one for the alternate build as soon as possible. And here he is, the finished article. Very pleased with that. Absolutely love his base. He's a very menacing figure on the battlefield, and I can't wait for him to lead his command squad into combat. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you do those 3 things. Costs you absolutely nothing, but that you should be doing for every video, for every creator that you do enjoy. That is, give the video a like if you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed to the channels. Costs you absolutely nothing to do that. It makes a huge difference to us as about how many people get to see our videos. So please do think about doing it. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I'll see you in the next one.